UFC Fight Night Hernandez versus Rodriguez was last night, and I'm going to go through the entire card from the bottom all the way to the top, recap everything that happened, and recap my picks from my video before. And yeah, just go through the entire card, break down each fight. So this card was very good. I wasn't able to fully just sit there and watch every single fight, but I got to see glimpses of most of them. Um, Chanel Dyer starting off the night, she picked apart and beat on Elise Reed. Chanel Dyer is an actual violent fighter in the women's divisions. Elise Reed was kind of just out there as a lamb to slaughter. And Chanel Dyer gets it done. TKOs her in the third round, looked really good, landing great shots. Head kicks were nice. And yeah, it was just staying quick, staying powerful and tagging up Elise Reed for the first two rounds and then goes to the third and finishes her off. I was able to kind of watch this one out of the corner of my eye most of the time, but also I wasn't able to fully just watch everything. So I didn't really see anything from Elise Reed that made me think she was any bit competitive. Chanel Dyer um, just looked great out there, was picking her apart and gets the first fight of the night with a great performance. Women's MMA the past like few months has been very, very good when with certain fighters like Chanel Dyer, Carly Judice later on this card, um, other certain fighters and other prelims and everything like that. They've been putting on wars. There was an Apex card I remember a couple months ago that had like three or four women's fights, and they all were like great fights. So we're coming into a renaissance of women's MMA, and Chanel Dyer right now is one of the heads leading that charge because she is going out there looking for KOs, putting on great performances. Um, and yeah, then we move up to Wes Schultz versus Jackson McVeigh. These two, I like what they were doing with this fight because they are the second prelim of the card, and they built some interest or intrigue about this fight because they're both white dudes with long dark hair. Um, they built some interest for this fight, and with the Spider-Man meme at the weigh-ins and everything, they made it more interesting for a prelim fight, and it got a little bit of buzz around it. But I picked Jackson McVeigh to win, and he wins this fight by first round knockout, knee up to the body, and yeah, I saw Jackson McVeigh getting this done. I don't bet on West. I don't pick on Wes Schultz, in fights. I don't think he's that good. Um, and Jackson McVeigh, he's proven that he can beat a certain caliber of opponent, and especially when he can overpower them, and he could overpower Wes Schultz. And then knee to the body crumples Wes Schultz down in the first round, and Jackson McVeigh gets the win. Um, Pretty easily over Wes Schultz. Another great performance in the prelims. A first round knockout, first of many, and yeah, great job by Jackson McVeigh. Gets the job done. Knee to the body, crumples him right down. Then we move to Gage Young versus Stan Dorsonville. Now, I got this one correct as well. I said Stan Dorsonville would get this fight done, but I thought he was going to implement grappling a lot more. Obviously, I wasn't able to watch this one as much, but this one looked like a good fight. I saw that Dorsonville was getting hurt a lot in the first round, and Gage Young was almost finishing it, and then Dorsonville came back a little bit, and I think he won the second round. Um, by doing some more damage, landing some decent shots. And then they said that this fight definitely was very, very close, and you could see it going to either person. But then Stan Dorsonville still biting down, landing some decent shots, and ends up stealing the third round, I believe. And yeah, gets the win over Gage Young. Very close performance. Comes back and survives it, and yeah, this was a decent fight, decent scrap between the two, but I thought that Stan Dorsonville, if he was going to win this, he was going to take down Gage Young or end up on top and win it with ground and pound. But from what I saw, it was a good bit on the feet, and he just barely outdid Gage Young. So, yeah, I wasn't able to fully pay attention, so I'm not going to stick on it too long. But Gage Young loses to Stan Dorsonville, and I get another one correct on the card. Then we moved to Mauricio Barbosa versus Ryan Cuse. Mauricio Barbosa hook knockout Ryan Cuse. I was able to watch just a little bit of this one, and I saw the replays of the the knockout, but I wasn't paying attention too much when it happened. But Mauricio Barbosa looked very technical, very patient out there with Ryan Cuse, was waiting for his moment, found his moment, put the lights out on Ryan Cuse, and did what he should have done. There's not really much else to say. He did what he needed to do. He was a like minus 1,000 favorite over Ryan Cuse, and he needed to slime him out, and that's what he did. And he beats Ryan Cuse first round knockout. Yeah, great job by Mauricio Barbosa. Great job by Mauricio Barbosa. Just simple as that. Ryan Cuse really didn't need to be in the UFC, and Mauricio Barbosa is a dangerous, powerful striker that is patient and technical. So it was always going to end like that. Yeah, minus 900 odds. So he just did what he needed to do. Obviously, I got that one right. Then Chris Padilla versus Nazareth Hackprest. Chris Padilla goes out there and craftily beats Nazareth Hackprest, and this Nazareth is no joke. He's not a slouch. Chris Padilla, I believe his last fight he drew with Markel Medeiros, who we'll get to later. But Chris Padilla, he he's looking better now. Now that he drew with Markel Medeiros, and he's won before that. He's looked good in fights before that, and now beats Nazareth Hekpress pretty clearly. He was winning this fight in my eyes from what I was able to see before the submission even got locked in, where he was stealing the rounds going into the third. By the end of the third, it looked like he was up 2 rounds, and then he just cinches up a standing arm triangle and then throws Nazareth on the ground and submits him while standing. Just absolutely wild. Last second of the fight, because Nazareth goes out as the bell is ringing and Chris Padilla gets right up. He doesn't hold it any longer, so there's no controversy of that. He holds it. The bell starts. Chris Padilla lets go of the grip, and then Nazareth Hekprast is getting up or is not getting up, and he's kind of twitching a little bit, so you can tell that he's out. And Chris Padilla, last second submission, standing arm triangle, crazy result for a fight. But yeah, Chris Padilla he looked good. He was more active. He was landing harder shots. He was landing more shots. 125 to 73, and yeah, Taco gets it done. That's what happened. I had faith that he was going to be able to stay defensively sound against Nazareth, and then on the ground, I have a feeling that Chris Padilla is just decent enough at his defense to stay safe and not let Nazareth get him down too hard. Um, and yeah, he stuffed all the takedowns, and then he threw Nazareth down onto the ground with his own submission takedown. So yeah, great job by Chris Padilla. Gets the crafty win and makes me have perfect predictions on this card so far. And we move up to the one that I am happiest about. I've never been happier about second guessing myself in a prediction, because in my prediction video, I was fully ready to pick Kennedy as a Chukwu and give up on the Blob hype train. And I mean, boy, am I glad I didn't, because Shamil Gaziev slimes out Kennedy Nzechukwu in the first round. Nastiest knockout of the night. Just Kennedy keeping his hands all the way down against the fence. Tries to pivot out, and Shamil, right hand, boom, sends him down. It's a hilarious video because Kennedy literally flies into the cage after. And yeah, Shamil the Blob Gaziev gets it done with 2 punches landing. He literally landed a punch that hurt Kennedy against the fence, and then the one that finished him. And Kennedy landed 3 shots, none of which really did anything. Shamil Gaziev back on his title roll, and just a great performance by Shamil to be able to land that shot. Like I said, the second and third round are terrified of this man. There's no world where they want to go into the second or third with Shamil Gaziev, because he always gets it done in the first if he's getting it done. And great job by Shamil Gaziev. I'm glad I switched my pick. It was crazy when it happened. I was watching it on my phone at that point, and I literally just reopened the Paramount app, turn it on, and it was like 30 seconds before the knockout happened. So I'm just watching it. Oh my god! I started freaking out because Pookie Bear Gaziev gets it done, and yeah, great performance by Shamil. Um, Even though he really didn't have to do much because it was only a minute 20 seconds in, and he landed 2 punches. But yeah, still a great job by Shamil Gaziev. Crazy nasty knockout. We then move up to Larian Douglas versus Jamal Emmers, and fraud check of the year probably. Let's be honest, Larian Douglas in his last fight knocks down his Julian Erosa, I think is who he fought. Knocks him down with 4 jabs. Each jab knocks him down. Crazy power puncher, great leg kicks. Jamal Emmers found the one shot and clipped him and put him out. Larian Douglas winging crazy hooks and overhands. Awful technique. He was just kind of hunting Jamal Emmers, and Jamal was quick enough to stay out on the outside, not get caught. Larian Douglas had some nasty low kicks that were very hard, powerful low kicks. But Jamal Emmers was just waiting for that one shot, and he found it up against the cage. Once Larian Douglas started chasing Jamal Emmers with the hooks, I knew this fight was gonna go the wrong way. Um, and that's exactly what happened. He was chasing him with the hooks. Jamal Emmers then reset on the cage side, and boom! I think it was left hand down the pipe, but maybe it's just a 2 down the pipe, and Larian Douglas got hit by literally one good shot and then curled down into a ball because he was that hurt. Couldn't take the damage, and Larian Douglas gets knocked out first round by Jamal Emmers. Crazy fraud check of fraud checks. I mean, Larian Douglas was seen as a hunter, as like a savage. He's gonna go out there and murder everybody, and he gets completely fraud checked. He was a minus. I at one point I think he was a minus 900 favorite, and then ended at minus 390, and yeah, just gets absolutely slimed out by Jamal Emmers. Crazy, um, crazy performance by Jamal Emmers to get that shot. He got clipped a couple times, but he was able to weather it and put out Larian Douglas. So we move on to Anthony Went versus Terrence Chapman. Anthony Went gets the win. Looks pretty sloppy out there, but he goes in for a takedown, gets it, and then starts throwing some ground and pound. Then eventually moves into arm triangle, and it was a kind of off arm triangle, but because of the body type of Anthony Witt, the amount of squeeze and pressure there in that arm triangle, able to put out Terrence Chapman, puts him out cold. Terrence Chapman really didn't have any chance. He was signed to the UFC to fight a Dana White's Contender Series winner that won in 34 seconds last week and week 1 of the Contender Series. So, yeah, there was really no chance for Terrence Chapman. Anthony wins his second fight in the shortest amount of time between a Dana White's Contender Series and a UFC bout. Because Bison Gorsuch-Akayev won it on a Tuesday last year in August, and then fought on the UFC 319 card and won that. So Bison Gorsuch-Akayev had 2 fight wins in 4 days. Anthony now has 2 in 11 days. Great job by by Anthony not by Bison Gorsuch-Akayev. But Terrence Chapman, he didn't have any chance in this fight. This was all Anthony Went. I mean, what was the stat line in strikes? It was 46-2 because Anthony Went got him down and then just pounded on him and went for the submission. So, first round finish by Anthony Went. Did it as he should have. Looked a little sloppy. I don't know how he does against higher level of the division, but Anthony Went still gets it done. Then we have Carly Judice versus Jaisla Chavez. Carly Judice, another one of those women's fighters, she goes out there and she goes for the kill, and that's what she did against Jaisla Chavez, and she does it in the first round. I mean, Carly Judice, I am always fine with being on the main card of stuff, especially of these fight nights. Same with Chanel Dyers. She's one of the women that you can put up on these um main cards because or the feature prelim areas because they are going out there for the kill. They're going out there for the finish. And Carly Judice goes out there, body shot Jaisla Chavez, finishes her. I think it was the knee or a kick to the body. Yeah, I think it was her kick to the body. Crumples Jaisla Chavez, finishes her in the first round, and just great job by Carly Judice. I'm very high on Carly Judice, partially because I have a bias after seeing her live in Louisiana at UFC 318, and so and I think she might have even been the first fighter I ever saw fight, and first fighter I ever saw win. She's a great fighter, and she goes out there for the kill. She keeps on doing it and puts out Jaisla Chavez. Jaisla Chavez just had nothing for her on the feet, and yeah, Carly Judice gets the win over a undefeated fighter, gets the performance of the night bonus, which is arguable because I mean I feel like Shamil Gaziev could have probably gotten that. The odds were closer, or Jamal Emmers for being a massive underdog. But Carly Judice, I'm not going to complain that she got it. And now we sadly move up to Markel Medeiros versus Mason Jones. He'll be back. Mason Jones will be back. I have confidence. He'll be in more fun fights. This was a great fight. This was the second best fight of the night, other than the main event. This was such a good fight, and first round it was looking like a classic Mason Jones performance where he's landed somewhat decent, but he's getting hurt a little bit. He's getting wobbled a little bit. But he was probably winning the first round just with certain shots he was landing. He was able to clip Markel Medeiros, put him down, get him down on the ground. And yeah, it was great job by Mason Jones. He was looking really good. Goes out into the second round. He's getting his legs chopped up a good bit in the first, and then also into the second, he's getting his legs chopped up, and then he starts getting overeager going in, trying to land some shots, and Markel Medeiros loads up these elbows and just clips Mason Jones across the chin. Mason Jones in the finishing, like 30 seconds of this fight, ate so many finishing shots. It was crazy. I mean, Mason Jones got clipped by like 4 or 5 elbows straight that should knock him out, and then got clipped with like a 10-piece combination that should put somebody out. And Mason Jones never went down, never got knocked down in this fight. Not once did he get knocked down. Mason Jones is a warrior. He gets clipped by all these elbows, gets clipped, and then the final time there's the punch combination against the fence, and he stumbles. He like stumbles down on his knees. His knees get very weak, obviously, but he leans into the cage and he stays standing up. Markel Medeiros gets gets the second round finish. Crazy good fight. I'm hoping for Mason Jones to be able to come back because I care a lot more about him than I do about Markel Medeiros. Medeiros wants to fight into the top 15. The reason Mason Jones would have gotten one is because he's put on 3 bangers back to back to back against decent-ish competition. And now Markel Medeiros coming off of a draw and then a win over Mason Jones. I don't know if he deserves a top 15. I think he needs to fight 1 or 2 more times outside of it to then get into it. But yeah, great fight. Good job by Markel Medeiros to capitalize on Mason Jones getting overeager. Hopefully this teaches Mason Jones that, hey, yes, you've got a crazy chin. You've got a great chin right now. But let's save the chin and be a little bit more defensively sound and then rely on the chin when you do make mistakes. But yeah, great job by Markel Medeiros to capitalize over Mason Jones. Mason Jones, hopefully he can get back in there early, mid next year and finish somebody crazy and get a great fight. I want him to take a little bit of time off because he did eat a lot of shots. He probably could have gotten a concussion from some of those. So, yeah. Markel Medeiros gets the win, sadly, over Mason Jones. And we move up to the feature fight of the evening with Ranier Ritter versus Roman Dolidze. What was Roman's game plan? That's all I've seen people say about this fight. What was his game plan? He pulls guard into Rainier de Ritter. Rainier de Ritter then ends up on top because that was the game plan for this entire fight for either fighter. Whoever gets the ground control, whoever gets to control this fight wins. Roman Dolidze, I think, is better on the feet than Rainier de Ritter, just because Roman has more dangerous, powerful hands. Rainier, his punches are not very powerful. His knees, his kicks, his body kicks, his leg kicks, those are powerful, but his punches are not. Roman has powerful hands ish. He's just kind of slow, plotty. But Rainier de Ritter on the ground is way better than Roman Dolidze. Like, that is Rainier de Ritter's, like, that is his preferred method of fighting, is on the ground, in control. And Roman Dolidze literally gives it to him. At the start of the fight, literally first part of the fight, just gives him ground control. And then Rainier de Ritter on top gets fully into mount and just starts ground and pounding the crap out of Roman Dolidze, beating his head in. 106 significant strikes, or total strikes landed, to 4 from Roman Dolidze. Rainier de Ritter looking over at the ref like, hey, are you going to stop this? Because I'm just going to keep pounding away at him. And Rainier de Ritter gets the first round finish. No pushback from Roman Dolidze. His game plan was literally roll into Rainier de Ritter, get him onto my full guard or full mount, and then use my head as a block. And I guess that did what he needed it to do, because there's no other way to look at it other than you just had done literally nothing to put yourself in a position to win. Rainier de Ritter, great on the ground, pounds the crap out of Roman Dolidze. First round TKO for Rainier de Ritter in his new weight class against another former middleweight, but also former light heavyweight. At light heavyweight, it's a whole weird, confusing thing, but great job by Rainier de Ritter to win this fight and beat Roman Dolidze very, very clearly with literally no pushback. So maybe Rainier de Ritter can get in there in December, November. We see him back in there in a fight night or a prelims of a UFC pay-per-view. I would think him on the prelims of UFC 324 in Madison Square Garden would be interesting, or him on the prelims of UFC, like being the feature prelim of UFC 335 in Las Vegas at the end of the year. Those are something that we know Rainier de Ritter likes to be active, and now that he doesn't have to cut as much weight, I could see him doing that. So, yeah. Rainier de Ritter wins his fight against Roman Dolidze, and we move up to this co-main event and by far the worst fight of the night: Sergey Spivak versus Vitor Petrino. Petrino, quicker, powerful, smarter, it seems. 126 shots to 33 because he just landed, threw more, and was throwing more ground and pound. This was a boring fight. Spivak had his moments, but Vitor was just landing more, taking down Spivak when he needed to, getting on top, kind of stalling it out. And we go to the decision. It's a 3-round decision for Vitor Petrino. I was at a campfire at that point while this fight was happening, and I was more focused on the fire than this fight, because this fight was very much so turning out to be just a boring heavyweight fight. Vitor gets shot up into the top of the division now because of this win. I don't think he does good against most of them. I think Cyril Gane, Tom Aspinall, Waldo Cortez Acosta, those guys all can beat Petrino pretty quickly, pretty easily. I think Hokit beats him. I think Blades could beat Petrino. I think Blades versus Petrino is probably something that might get made soon. And yeah, good job by Vitor Petrino to just kind of outdo Sergey Spivak in a not very entertaining or important fight. We move up, and I got that one correct too. So at this point, the only ones I had gotten wrong were Mason Jones and Larian Douglas. And we move up to the main event of the night: Anthony Hernandez versus Gregory Robocop Rodriguez. Great fight. This fight was these two fighters at their absolute peaks, at the pinnacle of what they are. This was Fluffy being the most fluffy as he could be. This is Robocop being the most Robocop he could be, and the most Robocop possible beats the most fluffy possible. It's just the way it is. Um, Great fight from these two guys. At first, it was shaping up to be exactly how you thought it would be, where Robocop landing good, powerful strikes in the first round, clipping Hernandez here and there. Hernandez being able to push up Fluffy against the cage, though. Fluffy, he looked bigger in this fight than he ever has. And I don't know if that's just because I maybe underestimated how big he was, or I'm overestimating how big Robocop is. But Fluffy looked like he was decently well sized for this fight, and was able to kind of impose himself on Robocop in that first round, but Robocop using the cage to lean against it to get some breaks of his cardio, not really having to suck too much energy, and still landing better in the clinch, landing better knees, and just landing better shots throughout the round in the first round. Beating Anthony Hernandez in my mind in the first round. I know one judge gave it to Anthony Hernandez. I don't think you could have given the first round to Anthony Hernandez. Um, we then go into the second round, and it was a great performance by RoboCop in the second round. I mean, he was landing good shots, doing very well in this second round. But the thing that started working was that he was slamming low kicks to the legs of Anthony Hernandez and drops Anthony Hernandez like, does it say exactly how? Three times. I think it was actually like three or four times with low kicks. And Anthony was on a dead leg. It was like, oh, this is where we're seeing what RoboCop's supposed to be able to do, is just beat him in the second round. Then RoboCop goes onto the ground with Anthony Hernandez, and it kind of stalls out the rest of the fight. And Anthony survives, and now it's like, oh boy, did RoboCop just blow all his energy trying to finish there, and not really conserve much. But he also didn't go all out for the finish. He just kind of stayed smart, made sure he won that round, and didn't overexert himself too much. Then we go into the third round, and it's like, oh boy, this is the fluffy performance that we were expecting. He pushes Gregory Rodriguez up against the cage and kind of makes Gregory seem like he's wilting away. He's losing all of his energy. That's what it seems like going into this third round, and throughout this third round, RoboCop is just getting pushed up against the cage, getting shots landed on him. He seems very slow and lethargic. And Fluffy puts on a Fluffy clinic in this third round. This was all Anthony Hernandez just pushing up, landing little shots here and there, landing little elbows, and trying to wear down on Gregory Rodriguez. Then we go to the corner because Fluffy obviously wins the third round. RoboCop's corner saying, "Hey, you can't let him push you back against the cage. You got to go forward." And so in the fourth round, RoboCop starts pushing forward, and he starts landing hard shots again. He's landing low kicks. Fluffy had to switch his stances in the second round because of the low kicks landed by RoboCop. But RoboCop's still landing good hard punches and pushing Fluffy back, winning this round, stealing this round again. And then was this one of the rounds did oh shot there three. Okay, so no, they're saying that there are three knockdowns in each round, which is not the case. Um, but RoboCop landed the leg kicks in this round as well, I believe, and might have dropped down Hernandez, but I don't remember if he did or not. That might have been the fifth round. But then RoboCop landing good, hard, powerful punches, hurting Anthony Hernandez, obviously wearing on Anthony Hernandez. RoboCop still having enough energy as he did in the second round. Like, it's the same amount, and it's enough to beat Hernandez and still put a pace on him, still push forward. Because when you're pushing forward against Hernandez, Hernandez can't shoot in on you and can't push forward against you. And especially if you're the more powerful puncher, because Hernandez is not the most powerful puncher. So somebody like RoboCop, somebody like a Joe Pyfer, somebody like a Dricus Duplessis would be problems for Hernandez, where they just push forward. Same thing with, well, Strickland, it was a different story because Strickland is a much more technical, like, weird to say it, but sophisticated striker, and so he's not able to just cause that one shot boom, but he's able to get through to you. Um, But Robocop just landing the hard, powerful shots in that fourth round, picking apart on Anthony Hernandez, and going into the fifth round and final round, it's looking like, okay, this is Robocop's up 3-1 right now, and he just won the fourth round. He's got his momentum back. And honestly, I wouldn't have had a problem if they said that the second round is a 10-8 because it was pretty much one-way traffic as far as damage from Robocop, especially with the 3 or 4 drops by leg kicks. But then Robocop going into the fifth round, he's pushing the pace on him again and pushing the pace on Anthony Hernandez and is really going after him to the point where, again, Robocop is winning the fifth round against Anthony Hernandez, drops him with leg kicks, hurts him bad, stumbles him a little bit. Not like where Fluffy's like stumbling all around, but you could see it's like pushing him off balance and it's sending him back a little bit. Some of these shots are landing, spinning Hernandez's head back. Hernandez trying to do the typical Hernandez push up against the cage, let's land some good, nice clinch elbows and stuff, but it's just not working. And then Robocop even gets Fluffy down to the ground, gets on top of him. Fluffy's landing nice elbows from the bottom, but then Robocop's landing some little shots here and there from the top. And Robocop wins this fight with out Fluffying Fluffy. That's what I've been kind of describing it as. He out Fluffied Fluffy in this fight. If you would have told me that Robocop would have won this fight where he won rounds 1, 2, 4, 5, because that's what I believe he won, I would have said you were crazy. Because I could have seen him winning 1, winning round 2, winning round 3, then that was the iffy one, and then I saw him losing the rest of the fight. He literally won 4 of the 5 rounds, 2 of the later, 2 of the earlier. He took like the middle round as like okay, let me just lean up against the cage while Hernandez pushes me here, conserve my energy, and get some energy back. And it worked. He put on a great fight. 243 shots landed over 100 other versus 111 from Fluffy Hernandez. Just a great job by Robocop. And this is the most promising performance of Robocop's career for me because it proves that he can go 5 rounds. He can put on a pace that is, yeah, he was slowing down, and yeah, against certain other opponents, this probably won't work for him. And I don't know how he does against the Dricus du Plessis, who he called out, or stuff like that. But this was a great performance by him because it shows that he can do that further 5-round pace. He's not the same guy that fought Cannonier. He's able to have to go farther and harder into fights. And that's what you need to do if you want to eventually try and be a champion. So Robocop did very good against Fluffy Hernandez. Interested to see what he does next because Fluffy, he's going to have to fight a little bit further down. Robocop, I feel like at the top of that division, he calls out for Dricus du Plessis. I don't know if they do that. I think the next logical fight for Dricus is going to be Brendan Allen. I could also see them trying to give Robocop Brendan Allen. But I think the fight that they're going to make is Pfeiffer versus Robocop. And then Allen versus DDP. And then do Imavov versus Strickland. And then if Hamzat moves up or if Hamzat has to fight a contender, whatever it may be. But I think it's Imavov versus Strickland too. That's the most logical one. Then DDP versus Allen. Robocop versus Pfeiffer. Give the 2 power punchers a fight against each other. I think Pfeiffer wins that one, but Robocop obviously proves that he can still win it, and Robocop's got crazy good jiu-jitsu still, so yeah, it'd be an interesting fight, and great fight overall. I went 1, 2, 3, 3-1, 4-1, 5-1, 5-2, 6-2, 7-2, 8-2, 9-2, 10-2, 11-2. Only got 2 fights wrong on the card. Mason Jones, sadly, being probably the one I wanted to win the most. But yeah, Larian Douglas also I really wanted to win. But it is what it is. Great card. Next week's is in China, so it's an earlier card. And yeah, thank you for watching. Like, share, follow, comment, subscribe, whatever you can do, and have a great day.